Good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining us. I'm Beth Jones. First tonight, there are new developments in the investigation into a fire that destroyed a warehouse and multiple sheds in Chelsea Sunday afternoon. Crews responded to the New England rent-to-own on the River Road around 1 p.m. that day. According to the Chelsea fire chief, the building that caught fire was being used to build storage sheds. He says no one was in the building at the time, but the warehouse and all the materials inside it were destroyed. The state fire marshal's office has determined that the fire was in fact accidental in nature, and it started in an area of the warehouse where lithium batteries were being stored. This is the second fire in a week to have been attributed in some way to lithium batteries. Well, Senator Susan Collins visited our studio today, and we touched on a number of issues. One topic we addressed was potential help for the Stacyville Fire Department as they look into rebuilding after a fire at their own station. That fire did major damage to the department building last week. They also lost a lot of their turnout gear, and several pieces of apparatus were also damaged. The fire was ruled accidental, and investigators say it started with lithium-ion batteries that were charging. Senator Collins told us help could come in the form of a special spending request, but there could be other avenues as well.
Well, first, let me say that my heart goes out to the firefighters and other staff at the fire department. I can't imagine how devastating it must have been to watch the fire. I have been successful in securing funding for fire departments, fire stations all over the state. That cycle has finished, and we're in the midst of a new cycle. But we would be very happy to work with Stacyville to prepare what's called a congressionally directed spending request for next year. Unfortunately, the window is closed for this year, but we'll also explore whether there are any federal grant programs or any other way of getting them the assistance that I know they desperately need.
Well, an additional note here that Senator Collins' office did circle back with us. They have been in touch with the Stacyville Fire Department and are working to help them find solutions. We'll have more on our sit down with Senator Collins throughout the week. In other news tonight, President Joe Biden has approved a major disaster declaration for the state of Maine. It will supplement recovery efforts in areas impacted by severe winter storms from April 3rd to April 5th. A statement from FEMA says federal funding is available to state and local governments and certain nonprofits in Cumberland and York counties. It is also available on a cost-sharing basis for hazard mitigation measures statewide. Last year, the number of people who died from an overdose in Maine decreased by 16%. That is according to data from the CDC. Our Augusta reporter Corey Bouchard spoke with the Maine Recovery Advocacy Project to learn more about the work that's being done in order to help reduce that number even further.
I think I see our work really coming to fruition in that number.
Courtney Gary Allen is the organizing director for the Maine Recovery Advocacy Project, a statewide organization whose goal is to help promote safe recovery and policies surrounding them. She's talking about new data from the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, which shows overdose deaths in Maine dropped 16% last year.
So I think it's really a celebration for all the hard work that many people across the state of Maine on the front lines of the opiate crisis have been doing, as well as Governor Mills' administration making sure that naloxone is widely available.
Gary Allen says while the number of overdose deaths last year decreased, it's still 3 times higher than it was 10 years ago. But the reason we might be seeing a slight improvement is due to a shift in policy and public perception.
I think for a period of the last 10 years, we had a really regressive policy stance on substance use where we were saying, no, you can't have naloxone. We're going to cut funding to treatment, et cetera, et cetera. We're going to ramp up putting folks in jail. And then we saw this new age of policy making in Maine. And I think we're finally starting to see the benefits of that.
Despite the improvement, Gary Allen says more work needs to be done.
The other side of this, though, is that that's still 607 people who died from an accidental overdose last year, and that number is just simply too high.
Some of the specific policies Gary Allen points to is the shift of naloxone, or Narcan, from a prescription drug to one available over the counter, as well as the increased amount of people trained in and carrying the overdose reversal drug.
I think that what we've seen over about the last decade around naloxone is that the general public knows that this is an issue. It's their neighbors, their friends, their community members, or maybe even themselves. And this is one way that every citizen of Maine can be a part of the solution to addressing the opiate crisis in our community.
Gary Allen says advocates will keep pushing until the number of overdose and overdose deaths reaches 0. In Augusta, I'm Corey Bouchard for ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
Well, Maine's Attorney General has now been officially named a defendant in a case regarding access to legal counsel in Maine. On Friday, the Kennebec County Superior Court granted the ACLU's motion to name Attorney General Aaron Frey as a defendant and updated their allegations in a lawsuit regarding what they say is the state's failure to provide attorneys to low-income defendants within a reasonable period of their arrest. The case was filed in 2022 and originally listed county sheriffs and the Maine Commission of Public Defense Services as defendants. Zachary Hayden, the chief counsel for the ACLU of Maine, says at the heart of this case is the state's failure to ensure constitutionally protected rights.
The problem keeps getting worse. And every day, more and more people across the state are sitting in jail or waiting weeks, sometimes months, to be given lawyers that they're constitutionally entitled to. Bringing in the Attorney General, expanding the case, will allow us to more fully address this expanded problem.
The case was expected to go to trial next month, but according to Hayden, probably won't be heard until later this fall. Well, a youth-led organization is working on a website to encourage more young people to get involved in politics. Maine Youth Action recently won a national grant to fund the development of the Maine Youth Political Portal. It's a website that will act as a resource and an inspiration for young Mainers interested in running for office. It will consist of a library of informational and training resources, a list of contacts for endorsements and networking, and an intuitive candidate builder page that will enable users to walk through the process of planning their own campaign.
The whole inspiration for it is to show youth that there are ways they can get involved in politics, and I think that's the real hurdle for young people, is that they have the motivation to do something, but this obstacle is not knowing how to go about doing it.
Cochran says they hope to launch the website later this year. Meanwhile, the Brewer Fire Department has a new piece of equipment to help them save lives. It's called the Lucas device. It's an automated chest compression machine to assist in CPR when someone is in cardiac arrest. Deputy Chief Eric Turtelot says unlike people, the machine doesn't get tired from doing chest compressions, and you are able to move a person while you are using it. He says those constant compressions that you see right there increase the odds of a person's survival.
Our call volume increases every day, and that's for everybody. Right. Our numbers are going up, and we're just trying to answer those calls the best we can, as efficiently as we can, and if equipment is often the answer to help us achieve that.
He says the Lucas device cost about $25,000. The Penobscot County Commissioners gave them a grant for $15,000, and the city of Brewer paid the rest. Turtelot says they'll actually be sharing the device with other area departments that might need to use it. Looking a bit to our south now, a proposal to resurrect the canceled Hot Air Balloon Festival in Lewiston has now been rejected. Mal Meyer reports on that latest decision.
Last week, the city had offered a variety of supports to the organizers of the Great Falls Balloon Festival. However, that group told the city today it was turning down the offer.
They had concerns that the city didn't realize what they were getting themselves into.
Lewiston's acting city administrator says they offered staffing, fundraising help, and could front some of the money for insurance, which would be recouped.
The city's not looking to make money off this event. We're looking to have this event go on. And if there is money made, we want to give that back to the Great Falls Balloon Festival.
The three-day event boasts an annual multi-million-dollar economic impact. It also provides fundraising and outreach opportunities for area nonprofits.
We have talked to people that didn't know there was treatment available. So that's big.
An Angels Wing has set up at the festival in years past. It's a group that helps get people into recovery.
The Balloon Festival and our annual gala are our two biggest fundraising events of the year.
Deborah York says it's helped them open 3 recovery homes in Maine.
We're scrambling to try to figure out another fundraising event or something we can do to alleviate the lack of cash flow.
The city declined to share the festival board's reaction letter as O'Malley believes negotiations are ongoing. It's still your hope at this point that there can be an agreement reached with the festival organizers?
That is my hope.
One balloon company said they already started making other plans. O'Malley hopes they can be given a little more time, as he's requested a meeting with the festival's board to address any concerns or questions.
And so my hope is we can get this done rather quickly, but I'm relying upon the board to agree to meet with me.
And that was Mal Meyer reporting. Well, let's go ahead and hit pause here, folks. We'll peek outside and get a first check of our forecast.
Thank you very much, Beth. Our first weather tonight is brought to you by Physical Therapy and Balance Centers, providing relief to people who are experiencing issues of pain, dizziness, or balance. Physical spelled different because they are different. And a different looking day out there for today. Definitely a little bit of shower action going on. Very scattered, very light as well, but much better improvements are on the way. For now, though, visibilities are pretty poor right by Bar Harbor, so this is little pockets where you see these gray and white colors, of course. Lowered visibility here in town. We're not too bad at 10 miles for now. Temperature-wise, though, earlier today, back in the 70s, a couple of 60s by Bar Harbor. Other than that, 70s were pretty much the main trend all over the state. Overnight, though, we're going to cool off, hovering back in those mid-50s. Beth?
Alrighty, Conrad, thank you so much. And still to come on Fox 22 News at 10 with summer right around the corner. Our Callie Warren spoke with the U.S. Coast Guard about how we can all safely enjoy the ocean this summer. And our Jody Hersey goes to the town of Brooklyn to highlight the special education students there are receiving. Those stories and more local news when we return.
Crockett's Excavation and Auto Repair, located in Ellsworth, does it all. Whether you're looking to clear a lot, put in a driveway or road, or establish proper drainage, Crockett's Excavation has you covered. Crockett's Excavation takes pride in the fact that our work stands the test of time. Reach out today for a free estimate.
Fires, floods, burst pipes. Disasters happen, but the mess they leave behind doesn't have to last. For 40 years, Bouchard Cleaning and Restoration has been there to help Mainers get back to the closest to normal as they can. When your property is at its worst, Bouchard Cleaning and Restoration is at their best, and they have been for 4 decades. Put your trust in the Bouchard team. Bouchard Cleaning and Restoration. You keep the memories, we'll handle the rest.
And Doug.
Limu, someone needs to customize and save hundreds on car insurance with Liberty Mutual. Let's fly. Chief?
Doug.
Oh, wow. I thought you were right behind me.
Only pay for what you need.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Let's face it, getting training and experience is hard, but at Loring Job Corps, we can help. From certifications in automotive technology, obtaining your CDL, or learning building trades, we have you covered. Maybe you prefer joining the high-tech world of computer networking or cybersecurity. We have that as well. Don't delay, get in the driver's seat to your future today. And the best part, Loring Job Corps is free. Receive free training, free meals, and even free housing. Call or go to jobcorps.gov/Loring. Job Corps careers begin here.
It's harder, dude.
Name that tune.
Premieres Monday, June 3rd on Fox.
Crockett's Excavation and Auto Repair, located in Ellsworth, does it all. Whether you're looking to clear a lot, put in a driveway or road, or establish proper drainage, Crockett's Excavation has you covered. Crockett's Excavation takes pride in the fact that our work stands the test of time. Reach out today for a free estimate.
Hi there, I'm Emma Smith, and coming up on Good Morning Maine, we'll hear some safety tips from an expert since it's that time of the year when folks are putting the boats back in the water. Plus, we'll have a live interview to promote the upcoming Rhubarb Festival. These stories plus your full forecast and local sports updates coming up on Good Morning Maine.
As we welcome the upcoming start of summer, many are anxious to get out on the water. But boating safety must come first for responsible fun. Our Callie Warren has tips from the U.S. Coast Guard on safely enjoying the water.
For those who love getting out on the ocean, it can be tempting to dive right in. But the U.S. Coast Guard says that's not the safest choice, saying it's best not to rush. Instead, first make sure safety equipment is on board and ready.
Sometimes, life jackets can be bulky, it can be, a lot. It is a very good measure to take and have on your boat with you.
With an often large temperature disparity between the warm air and the shockingly cold sea, having a flotation device might just save your life.
Understanding that it's warm outside, but not nearly as warm in the water. And the water does take a while to warm up here, even in the harbors.
Ensure you're also packing a marine radio and plenty of food and water, no matter the length of your planned trip. And always keep loved ones informed of where you are and where you're going.
Most people are starting to get their boats back in the water now with the weather warming up. So if there's any hesitation or question, I know it can be troubling to know all the list of gear that you need on your boat. Don't hesitate to call us.
And if you still have any questions, they say don't hesitate to reach out and ask.
We'll help you in any manner, general questions or emergencies. We're there to answer the call.
For more information, visit our website at foxbangor.com. In Southwest Harbor, Callie Warren, ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
Well, the historic schooner Bowdoin and the frigid Arctic waters are synonymous with one another, and after 16 years apart, the two will be reunited once again. Our Doug Banks takes us to Carousel Marina in Boothbay Harbor.
The story of the Bowdoin is a tale longer than its near 30 voyages to the Arctic. After 16 years apart, the Bowdoin will be returning to its home away from home.
Not many people get to say that they were part of the history and continue the history.
Students from Boothbay Regional Elementary School arrived at Carousel Marina to celebrate the history at port and to learn from the next on board.
Had to find the right person to captain this ship, which we have in Captain Peacock.
Standing on the quarterdeck in the same spot McMillan was, going in the same direction is a pretty cool feeling. And the boat knows the way, so yeah, trust the boat.
During their long-awaited voyage that set sail on Wednesday, the captain of the Bowdoin hopes his crew learns not just the technical aspects and the history that they're a part of, but rather he hopes his crew learns
a lot about themselves, how to be good mariners, but yeah, I just hope they come away with, personal growth.
Over 100 years of ice-crushing explorations are weaved into its wooden poetry, and when they return to Castine in late July, it's a journey that's years in the making for the historic Bowdoin and for the ones on board.
It still baffles me that we're leaving tomorrow. 3 years ago when we were writing that proposal, it just seemed so far away and unattainable. So to see it come to fruition is really, really exciting.
In Boothbay Harbor, Doug Banks, ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
And keeping with our nautical theme, boat building is a way of life in the town of Brooklyn. So much so that the community makes sure the students at the Brooklyn School get the opportunity to learn boat building skills at an early age. Our Jody Hersey stopped by to see their progress.
I think it's just crucial to tie the education of the youth of an area to the history of what goes on around there.
Brooklyn is a small town in Hancock County with a long history of wooden boat building. Eric Blake is the vice president of the Brooklyn Boatyard. He's also a part-time teacher at the Brooklyn School, where the 7th and 8th grade students get the opportunity to learn boat building from the ground up.
It's a great way to connect, the students to their community. It's a great way to connect some of the mathematics and sciences and biologies that go on in the classroom. There's nothing like a tape measure to teach a kid about fractions and 1/16 of an inch.
Every Thursday during the school year, these students walk across the parking lot and into the boat building workshop.
I didn't even know this was a thing until I came to this school in the middle of the year last year.
The students measure, cut, sand, and stain the wood until it shines.
I love just being able to get hands-on and being able to work with power tools and get taught how to do different things.
8th grader Farrah Young hopes what she's learning in boat building will help her build a future on the water.
When I grow up, I just want to stay near the water where I can get out on the water and go to different places and explore.
The students will get to test out their skills when they put the boat in the water and visit Eggemogan Reach at the end of the school year.
I really hope that they get out of it that they can really make anything.
In Brooklyn, I'm Jody Hersey for ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
And coming up on the 10 p.m. news on Fox 22, Ukraine is receiving additional aid from Western allies amidst what some are calling their biggest test since Russia's full-scale invasion in 2022. And the CDC has started testing vaccines in case they are needed, this following 60 dairy herds being infected since late March. Those stories and more as the 10 p.m. news on Fox 22 continues.
Is that your new Nissan Rogue?
Yeah, crazy story. So this morning, I'm at the Nissan Thrill of Summer sales event, taking a test drive, when Dave's like, these cars are going fast.
Hurry in for Memorial Day savings. Now get a low $279 per month lease on Rogue.
Higher shipping rates may be the cost of doing business, but at what cost?
Turn shipping to your advantage with low-cost ground shipping from the United States Postal Service.
So, all of us are here to talk about trading. Right now at US Cellular, you can get a new phone without having to trade in your old one.
Trade you my PB&J for that phone.
No, kid, you don't have to trade. See? $830 off any phone at US Cellular. No trade-in needed.
You drive a hard bargain. Boom. Chocolate milk.
You don't have to trade. I'll take the chocolate milk.
Okay.
Get $830 off any phone. No trade-in needed with any unlimited data plan.
Why should your new floor come from Carpet One? Because we're passionate about the spaces our neighbors call home. We're part of your community, and we're also part of the world's largest cooperative of independently owned and operated flooring stores. So you can be sure you'll get great selection and outstanding value with every installation. Whether it's carpet, hardwood, tile, or luxury vinyl, our experts take the guesswork out of choosing the right floor. We're your local Carpet One Floor and Home, the one store for your perfect floor.
When Electrify Maine wants to know the local forecast, they log on to foxbangor.com. Electrify Maine provides outstanding electrical services to eastern and central Maine. They are a licensed Generac dealer specializing in generator and heat pump installs. Call today for a free estimate. On the Road, broadcasting the news at 6, live from Bar Harbor, is sponsored by University of Maine Early College, tuition-free online courses for high school students, umaine.edu/early college. Coastal Auto Parts, your local Napa Auto Parts dealer with 29 locations, owned and operated by a Maine family that cares. And Deba's, 89 Main Street in Bar Harbor, t-shirts, apparel, souvenirs, footwear, jewelry, and fun stuff.
Is that your new Nissan Rogue?
Yeah, crazy story. So this morning, I'm at the Nissan Thrill of Summer sales event, taking a test drive, when Dave's like, these cars are going fast.
Hurry in for Memorial Day savings. Now get a low $279 per month lease on Rogue.
If you've been injured, call Joe, the law offices of Joe Bornstein.
A multi-million-dollar pier built by the U.S. military to help get humanitarian aid into Gaza has been shut down. It is the latest blow to international efforts to get aid into the war-torn region. Fox's senior national correspondent Kevin Cork has the story.
Earlier today, a portion of the Trident Pier separated from the pier that is currently anchored into the coast of Gaza.
Rough seas and bad weather heavily damaging a temporary pier built by the U.S. military to deliver humanitarian aid into Gaza. In fact, damage is so bad, the Pentagon now says it will remove the pier from operation.
The Trident Pier will be removed and towed back to Ashdod, where U.S. Central Command will conduct repairs.
It's just the latest setback for the $320 million pier that began operating earlier this month. Last week, aid deliveries were paused for 2 days after crowds rushed aid trucks coming off the pier. And over the weekend, 4 Army boats used to transfer aid were unmoored and beached due to rough waters. 3 U.S. service members were also injured while working on the pier. Despite the setbacks, the Pentagon says more than 820 metric tons of food aid have been delivered via the waterway. Even more is on the way.
So we're going to continue to operate this temporary pier for as long as we can.
But the pier suspension couldn't come at a worse time. UN officials warn displaced Palestinians are on the brink of starvation. Recent Israeli advances into Rafah also forcing many to flee into already crowded places.
A colleague who recently returned from Gaza told me today, people are dying inside. Everywhere they look, there is death, and it is as if people have accepted that death is their fate.
According to the Pentagon, repairs on the Trident Pier could take over a week to complete. In Washington, Kevin Cork, Fox News.
A military onslaught unfolding in eastern and northeastern Ukraine is bringing Kyiv to what could be its biggest test since Russia's full-scale invasion, which started in February 2022. As Ukraine receives more aid from Western allies, Russian President Vladimir Putin is warning of potentially dire consequences if those weapons are used on Russian soil. Fox's Alex Hogan has the story.
Mounting pressure to lift restrictions that ban Ukraine from using Western weapons to strike Russian soil. NATO's chief says it's self-defense.
And the right of self-defense includes also striking targets outside Ukraine, legitimate military targets inside Russia.
The UK and Sweden are on board. Today, the leaders of France and Germany announced they now support Ukraine in neutralizing Russian military sites from which Ukraine is attacked. The U.S. State Department says it does not agree, citing concerns of escalation.
We don't encourage or enable strikes outside Ukraine's borders.
Still, there's new urgency amid reports that Moscow is amassing troops on Ukraine's northern border. The move is possibly in preparation for a new offensive near Kharkiv, where Ukrainian forces are already desperately trying to maintain their ground. Belgium today pledged 30 F-16 fighter jets for Kyiv within the next 4 years. The Netherlands committed parts of a Patriot air defense system, and Spain says it will send additional air defense missiles. But Russian President Vladimir Putin is now warning NATO nations if Ukraine uses Western-supplied long-range weapons in Russia, it's their land at risk.
They are primarily countries with small territories and dense populations, and they should take this into account before they speak about strikes into Russian territory.
As Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky continues his European tour to shore up security assistance for his country, today he also urged President Biden to attend a peace summit, which is set to take place in Switzerland next month. In London, Alex Hogan, Fox News.
Well, the latest bird flu outbreak has affected more than 60 dairy herds since late March, according to the CDC. Public health officials say they are testing vaccines in case they're needed. Fox's Jonathan Seri has more.
As bird flu spreads among cattle herds, the CDC says it's preparing for a possible increased risk to human health from the virus. Though doctors caution there is still no evidence of person-to-person transmission in the U.S.
It's a very similar virus, but it doesn't seem to attach as well to human cells, which is why it's thought to be a fairly low risk.
The CDC says bird flu has affected herds in nearly a dozen states as of last week. On Friday, the U.S. Department of Agriculture announced the virus had been detected in beef tissue from a sick dairy cow, but says the meat did not enter the nation's food supply. So far, only 2 farm workers have tested positive for bird flu this year, one in Texas, another in Michigan. Both had contact with infected animals.
We have specific guidance for those who work on farms in terms of personal protective equipment and how to be safe, how to monitor for symptoms, what to do if they develop symptoms.
Meanwhile, the U.S. is taking steps to develop or acquire vaccines that could be used to protect at-risk workers. Last week, public health officials said they are filling about 4.8 million doses of bird flu vaccine into vials through a national stockpile in case they are needed.
We're really prepared to not only test the current vaccines that we have in the stockpile, but also to really develop specific vaccines. So I think we're in a very good place.
The U.S. is also reportedly in talks with Pfizer and Moderna about developing potential vaccines to reduce the threat of a pandemic. In Atlanta, Jonathan Seri, Fox News.
Another American detained in Turks and Caicos for violating the country's strict ammunition laws is heading home. It comes just days after a congressional delegation traveled to the islands to push for their release. Fox's Dana Marie McNichol has the story.
A sigh of relief for 31-year-old Tyler Wenrich, a judge in Turks and Caicos ruling the Virginian can return home after being sentenced to time served. He pled guilty last week to an ammunition charge, which carries a 12-year minimum sentence.
People should be aware of local laws, which would, of course, prevent people from landing themselves in this situation in the first place.
Wenrich's ordeal began back in April on a bachelor party trip. His cruise ship docked and security arrested him after finding 2 stray bullets in his bag when he tried to board the ship back home. Wenrich describes it as a huge mistake and oversight on his part.
It's a backpack that I have at home that I hadn't used in a while, but I had used it previously for carrying supplies in my car and going to the shooting range.
Just last week, a Pennsylvania man is also avoiding prison time for the same charge. Brian Hagerich, a father of 2, reuniting with his family Friday after a judge ruled he could head home after paying a $6,700 fine.
The darkest 8 days of my life. You think you're on this beautiful island, but there's nothing beautiful about it when you don't have your family.
The men were part of a group of 5 Americans who have been arrested and detained since February for bringing ammunition to the islands, violating the country's strict gun and ammo laws. Wenrich and Hagrich's release comes just days after a congressional delegation traveled to the islands to advocate on their behalf. As part of Wenrich's release, he will have to pay a $9,000 fine. In Miami, Dana Marie McNichol, Fox News.
And still to come on Fox 22 News at 10, we'll be taking a look at the aftermath of the devastating storms that hit America's heartland over the weekend. And in sports, Belfast softball is having their best season in nearly 2 decades, and they're doing it as one of the youngest teams around. That story right after the break.
Gen Z.
Which generation is going to win it all?
MasterChef Generations, season premiere this Wednesday on Fox.
Comfy, cozy, relaxing. Not Joe. Joe's Furniture. Joe's Furniture Warehouse in Newport is the place to find rockers, recliners, sofas, and easy chairs. Quality furniture, affordable prices. Not your average Joe. Joe's Furniture Warehouse, Grogan Avenue in Newport.
Protect your vehicle from rusting away with Bell's Automotive Protection. We are the leader in mobile undercoating and rust proofing in Maine. We'll travel right to your driveway using the best and safest products on the market. This is much safer than rubberized coatings that can cause damage later on. We spray all types of vehicles, including commercial fleets. We all know vehicles aren't cheap anymore. Don't let the harsh winter chemicals eat them away. Call us or visit our page for a free quote. 207-659-3805.
Feeling from a backed up gut? Miralax works naturally with the water in your body to help you go. Free your gut and your mood will follow. For 8 grams of fiber, try Mirror Fiber Gummies.
Introducing Hood New England Creamery. Made with premium Hood milk and cream and overloaded with the good stuff. New England Creamery. From Hood for New England. Try all 10 flavors.
Hank's Husqvarna is your trusted full-line Husqvarna dealer, offering you everything you need for your outdoor projects. From high-performance lawn tractors and zero-turn mowers to chainsaws, trimmers, battery-powered and powerful snowblowers, we have just what you need. Every piece of equipment is fully set up, serviced, and ready for use by our certified Husqvarna technician. And all sales are backed by our in-house Husqvarna warranty. For parts, service, or new equipment sales, make your way to Hank's Husqvarna in Carmel or Newport.
Since Champion the Cure Challenge started in 2010, almost 24,000 participants have shown their support for cancer care. Together, we have raised over $7 million, with all funds staying local to support patient care and clinical research. The challenge has provided for food insecurity, hair preservation, upgrades to technology, the installation of a new linear accelerator, and the number of trials available to our patients has tripled since 2010. Let's continue to make a difference.
Durable, sturdy, stylish. Not Joe. Joe's Furniture. Joe's Furniture Warehouse in Newport is the place to find solid wood, built to last, made in Maine dressers, bureaus, and nightstands. Not your average Joe. Joe's Furniture Warehouse, Grogan Avenue in Newport.
A new study suggests Gen Z teens are not so interested in driving compared to previous generations. New research from MarketWatch Guides found that Gen Zers ages 19 and under represent about 3.6% of licensed drivers in the U.S. When you include all drivers under the age of 25, it jumps to 11%. Meanwhile, millennials ages 30 to 34 are more likely to drive. They make up 9% overall. One automotive expert believes rising repair costs, rideshare apps, and public transportation are reasons for the shift. The study examined federal data on licensed drivers in the U.S. as of 2022. Well, switching gears now, the death toll continues to rise after storms ripped across America's heartland over the weekend. Fox Weather's Max Gordon has more from Sanger, Texas.
It's a lot of loss, big loss.
Folks throughout the central U.S. are assessing the damage Tuesday after a series of deadly storms and tornadoes rolled through over the holiday weekend, destroying hundreds of homes and businesses across a number of states, including Oklahoma, Arkansas, and Kentucky. But the hardest hit was Texas, where one tornado killed at least 7 people and injured 100 more. And here in the town of Valley View, residents are dealing with near total devastation.
I have never seen something like this. It was terrible. I couldn't conceive the strength that it had.
Overall, at least 23 people died in these storms. Some are dealing with the loss of multiple family members. People saying the wind and rain came on quickly, leaving them little time to evacuate.
I was texting my sister that it was going to be okay. Nothing's going to happen. And then we lost signal. I didn't hear from them again.
And that was the last time you spoke?
That was the last time I spoke to her.
Officials are now trying to clear the debris and get life back to normal, but it won't be easy. Arkansas Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders saying bluntly that this is not going to be a fast process. And while FEMA surveys the damage, Texas Governor Greg Abbott says his office is ready to get to work.
They need your prayers. They need your support. And God willing, we will help them rebuild their lives as quickly as possible.
Folks here in northern Texas are still dealing with severe weather, and forecasters say that more rain is expected throughout the rest of the week. In Sanger, Texas, Max Gordon, Fox Weather.
All right, folks, well, stay with us. Coming up, we have our full 5-day forecast. Stay tuned.
All right, we're finally starting to wrap up on this rain, and sunshine will make a return, and very, very warm temperatures. Are we talking 70s and 80s? Well, you got to tune in to find out. I have all the timing coming up.
The perfectly melted cheese, the juicier patty, the golden bun. It's all here. Rubble, rubble. Well, it was a second ago.
Now that's a steal. Grab a triple cheeseburger for just $2.99.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Tired of your internet service constantly letting you down? Those other providers may promise the world with their flashy advertisements, but are you truly having a good customer experience? Fear not, because there's a new player in town. Introducing GoNet Speed. No more endless hold times or automated responses. We're here to listen, support, and provide you with the exceptional service you deserve. Our fast, reliable fiber internet, it's mind-blowing. Let us show you what true internet satisfaction feels like.
An official message from Medicare.
A new law is helping us save more money on prescription drugs. Maybe you can save too. With Medicare's Extra Help program, our drug premiums are zero, and our out-of-pocket costs are low.
I enrolled and I'm saving money. If you're single and make less than $23,000 a year, or are a married couple making less than $31,000, you may qualify and save, even if you don't think you qualify. It pays to find out.
Go to ssa.gov/extrahelp.
Fires, floods, burst pipes. Disasters happen, but the mess they leave behind doesn't have to last. For 40 years, Bouchard Cleaning and Restoration has been there to help Mainers get back to the closest to normal as they can. When your property is at its worst, Bouchard Cleaning and Restoration is at their best, and they have been for 4 decades. Put your trust in the Bouchard team. Bouchard Cleaning and Restoration. You keep the memories, we'll handle the rest.
If you have to ask why it's important to start your day early, here's your answer.
Kick your morning routine into high gear with any sized iced coffee for just $1.99.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
The teams are set for a food truck fight.
You're desperate to win, aren't you?
That spins out of control.
This is not what I signed up for.
Food Stars, all new Wednesday at 9, 8 Central on Fox.
Welcome back, everyone. Our main weather tonight is brought to you by Washington County Community College. Discover choices, create success. Don't miss out on free college, and really, really warm start to the day. Temperatures back in the 50s, almost at 60 degrees to start out the day here in town. Bar Harbor, you were at 57 to start out the day, so definitely a warmer start to the day earlier today. Rebounded pretty nicely back in the 70s, a couple of mid to upper 70s, close to Augusta, right by Waterville as well. The coast, a tad bit cooler. There was a little bit of a breeze closer to Bar Harbor and to Machias, where temperatures were only in the 60s, but hey, we'll take 60s, right? We'll take 60s any day. Our average is right around that 69, 70 degree mark. So for tomorrow, we're going to be above average, closer to average Thursday and Friday, and then right back up above average into those mid to upper 70s, maybe even some 80s, making a return Sunday into Monday. So much, much warmer temps are around the corner. Now, still lingering showers, more scattered and light event going on in upstate New York right now. This line right here, this light to moderate rain, but other than that, most of this rain is starting to dissipate, weaken, and wind down all over the Northeast. Now, we're still seeing a little bit of shower action going on, very scattered and very light for now, and we will continue to see that into the early overnight hours, and then finally, by late overnight, we will start to improve. By tomorrow, lots of sunshine will make a comeback, and then maybe a couple of sprinkles left over by Thursday. Other than that, we're going to stay mainly dry. Now, taking a look at our wind speeds, we're at 15 in Bar Harbor, 5 by Machias. Big difference, right? Here in town, we're at 12, 10 by Rockland, 7 by Waterville. Augusta, you're at 7 miles per hour right now. Not too bad. We've seen a lot worse, but that light breeze will continue to stick around overnight tonight. A couple of scattered showers, maybe a rumble of thunder still left over or two. Other than that, we're going to continue to improve. We're going to see some decrease in clouds. Temperatures are going to start to cool off, but not bad. Another mild night. We're looking at mid-50s outside with that light breeze. For tomorrow, though, a lot better. We're looking at lots of sunshine, so that rain is going to be gone. Temperatures are finally going to be right back up to around 75 degrees, so a bit warmer than today. A light breeze outside once again for tomorrow out of the west, northwest, gusting around 15 to 20 miles per hour. Extended forecast outlook does show maybe a couple of sprinkles by Thursday. Other than that, we're dry. Temperatures right around that average near 70 for Friday. Even better. Now look at the weekend. I'm getting excited. Lots of sunshine out there for Saturday and Sunday. Temperatures will continue to climb back into those mid to upper 70s by the weekend. So enjoy it, and enjoy it once again. Beth?
So we'll be sure to enjoy it. Thank you so much, Conrad. Something else we're going to enjoy, sports. It's coming up next.
Hood milking you. It's why we do what we do, day in and day out. Making milk you can trust, with no artificial growth hormones. And we protect Hood milk with our light block bottle. We care about our milk because we know how much you care about what you give your family. So you can feel good about Hood.
I got help to push back.
I got help to push back.
Lybalvi helps us push back against bipolar 1.
Once daily prescription Lybalvi is proven to treat manic or mixed episodes of bipolar 1 in adults to help you push back. Elderly patients with dementia have increased risk of death or stroke. Do not take Lybalvi if you are taking opioids or are in opioid withdrawal. The samidorphan in Lybalvi can cause severe opioid withdrawal that can lead to hospitalization or increased risk of life-threatening overdose. Get emergency help if you have trouble breathing, become very drowsy with slowed or shallow breathing, feel faint, very dizzy or confused, or have a fever, stiff muscles, rash, swollen glands, or problems with your liver, kidneys, heart, or lungs. Other serious side effects may include high cholesterol, weight gain, potentially fatal high blood sugar, uncontrolled body movements which may be permanent, dizziness upon standing or falls.
Are you ready? Ask your doctor about Lybalvi. Looking for copay savings? For info, text copay to 45286.
Refine, your local expert in window and door installation, carpentry repairs, and commercial facilities management. At Refine, we're proud to offer Maine-made Paradigm windows crafted with care and precision to ensure quality and durability like no other. From quaint cottages to bustling businesses, let us refine your space with our signature Maine-made touch. Trust Refine to exceed your expectations every time. Contact us today and let Maine craftsmanship elevate your home or business. Rise with Refine.
Tonight's Sports is brought to you by Diversified Ink Tattoo Studio in Bangor, located in the Penobscot Plaza, providing custom ink by licensed artists for more than 20 years.
For the second time in the last 3 years, the Celtics are heading to the NBA Finals. Welcome back in, everyone. Thank you for staying with us. The Celtics punching their ticket to the Finals after completing the sweep of the Indiana Pacers on Monday. A big reason for that is the play of Jaylen Brown. JB was named the MVP of the Eastern Conference Finals after a stellar series, including tying the game, saving it with a block, and then assisting on the game winner on Monday. He had 40 points in Game 2 and then hit that last-second three in Game 1, afterwards receiving some high praise from his guys.
Finding guys that are so passionate about just getting better as players and people, and Jaylen is one of those. And so, from the first day I've been here, he's become more just like open-minded towards just growing as a basketball player. See what he's done in the community.
I mean, the great thing about JB is he's gotten better every single year that he's been in this league, which is a testament to his hard work and dedication. And, he was unreal this whole series.
Finals kick off on June 6th. Let's go to the softball diamond. The Belfast Lions are one of the youngest teams in Class B North, but are having their best year in a while, and that success has been a long time coming. Ryan Sudol has more.
We didn't really know. We were kind of a wild card. At the beginning, I thought it was going to be a rebuilding year.
Well, this may be the quickest rebuild of all time. Belfast softball is 5th in B North and 11-4, their best season in 17 years. It feels really amazing. Like our chemistry, it's like really working, so it's like really well to see like a good team come together. After going 8-8 last year, the Lions did what they needed to do and have gone from 6 runs per game to over 10 runs per game.
My assistants put a lot of work into, studying this new technique, which is keeping it tight, hitting with the core. So far, it's been working.
Our only struggle really was our bats. Having the backup was really great. Incredibly, this is all being done with a squad made up of 8 sophomores and 3 freshmen out of the 13 total players.
It's such a good experience to feel like Belfast softball, we finally have a good foundation. We have nowhere to go but up from here.
That foundation has been building and building. Before 2015, softball players in Waldo County had to play baseball after their T-ball days. That changed when Kevin Gray started Waldo County Youth Softball. 7 players from the original class are on this team. Their head coach, Kevin Gray.
My coaching staff that's with me right now, we've been coaching these girls ever since they were 8, 7, 6 years old. We were with the young kids, wouldn't it be cool to be up at the high school level?
Now that it's happening, the team is better for it.
Kevin means the world to me, and he's just such an amazing coach. It's such an honor to have him, and to know that he always has my back is just so amazing.
And with all this talk about how the Lions are built for the future, they're doing pretty good right now. So why not play for now? If we put our minds to it and really work at practice and work hard, I think we could probably almost go to the glove. This is just the beginning for us. In Belfast, I'm Ryan Sudol, ABC 7, Fox 22 Sports.
Thanks for that, Ryan. Staying with some high school sports, we'll get to some highlights now. Last few days of the regular season for spring sports. Let's head over to Bangor for some lacrosse. Bangor looking for their 10th win of the season, hosting the War Dogs of MCI Nokomis at Cameron Stadium. Rams up 1-0 in the first. Marc-Andre Perron's going to have it. He flips it over to Will Pelk, who rips one and scores. Bangor up 2-0. Same score now. Look at Miles Randall with it behind the net. A beautiful pass here, but Simon Chadbourne stuffs Eli Marsh right in front to keep it at 2-0. Richie Trott with it now. He is going to get by his man and fire on net. That one goes 3-0 unassisted. Rams led 3-0 after 1, and they would keep it going. Cole Mazzy now flips it over to Randall, and he spins and fires and gets it to go. Big game for the Rams. They win it 17-1. All right, now to Hedrick Field. Bangor visiting Brewer in some baseball. Win means playoffs are still in the cards for the Witches. Top second, Brewer up 1-0. Gio Socolo, a grounder, and what a stop by Grady Venetestein with his back to the ball. Gets the out at first. Bottom second, Brewers' Hunter Merrithew goes up the middle, but Ethan Sproul lays out and goes to first for the out. Some nice defense here early on. Top three, Bangor's Jack Shuck, a base hit, and in comes Jack Earl. That is going to tie the game at 1. Same score in the bottom of the 6th. Anderson Clifford at the plate, a line drive into left field. Caden Morin scores from third, and that makes it 2-1, Witches win it 4-1. And here are some other scores from around the area. Foxcroft baseball with a big win over Searsport. Ellsworth softball with a big win over John Bapps. Nokomis softball beats Levitt 3-2. And then in 9 innings, Old Town outlasting Orono 2-1. And that is all the time we have for sports. We'll be right back.
Tomorrow morning on Star 97.7, Paul Dupuis has the music and fun. Sonny Shepard brings you Star 97.7 local news. And Steve McKay with the weather. Turn on your radio and get the Star treatment with Star 97.7.
Family owned and operating in the Bangor area for more than 10 years. Crosby's Welding is here to help you. We specialize in steel, stainless steel, and aluminum welding and fabrication. We serve many of the local industries from Maine lobstermen to the commercial trucking industry and everything in between. Fully mobile on-site construction services right down to custom signs and fire pits. Fast, friendly, reliable service. Give us a call today for a free estimate, 974-7815.
Summer's here, and with a new Toyota, you can start your summer with a splash. Nailed it.
You could get 1.99% financing on most Tundra hybrid and gas models. Toyota, let's go places.
Lowe's knows you're kicking off summer hosting, so we're kicking off summer savings. Shop deals for every gathering this Memorial Day and get savings on all the items you need to jumpstart the season. And with the My Lowe's Rewards credit card, you can save 5% every day. Shop now at Lowe's.
Introducing Tailwaggers Mobile Pet Grooming. We bring the salon to your doorstep. With Tailwaggers, your furry friend receives top-notch care and attention from baths, haircuts, and nail trimming. We do it all. Say goodbye to stressful trips to the groomer. Tailwaggers makes grooming a breeze. Tailwaggers Mobile Pet Grooming, where convenience meets quality. Book your appointment today because your pet deserves the best.
Spring is here, and now is the time to call Hickory Dickory Decks for your new deck, sunroom, or enclosed porch. They specialize in custom outdoor living and making your dream oasis a reality. See for yourself how Hickory Dickory Decks can transform your existing porch into a 3-season sunspace sunroom. Call Hickory Dickory Decks now for your free estimate and enjoy life outdoors.
Tomorrow morning on Star 97.7, Paul Dupuis has the music and fun. Sonny Shepard brings you Star 97.7 local news. And Steve McKay with the weather. Turn on your radio and get the Star treatment with Star 97.7.
The Belmont Stakes from Saratoga. This is the test of the champion. June 8th on Fox.
Competition Master Chef is back with season 14, a whole new theme this time as generations of home cooks go for the grand prize. Chefs Gordon Ramsay and Aaron Sanchez joined us for a preview of the new season ahead of its premiere May 29th. Here's Fox's Ashley Dvorkin.
The energy is incredible.
Generations square off in the MasterChef kitchen on season 14. Gen Z, millennials, Gen X, and baby boomers.
Baby boomers were incredible. Their flavor profile was just off the charts. Their presentation skills were but their flavor.
Wow.
And then they stood on their feet way longer. They never complained about the time, the cook, and they were just so energetic. The Gen Zs were funny and the Gen Xs were funny. And so it was a fascinating combination and a clash of the ages.
Chefs Gordon Ramsay and Aaron Sanchez and restaurateur Joe Bastianich return as judges.
I can relate to the generational thing because I'm a third-generation cookbook author. My grandmother wrote a great cookbook in the mid-'80s, all about Mexican family-style cooking. My mom, of course, was like this pioneer Mexican chef, had a restaurant for 30 years in New York City. author of 3 books. I Am Who I Am. I have 3 books and restaurants. So it's like really neat to see, and I can relate to all the different cooking styles.
Sanchez says baby boomers brought the nostalgia.
They really brought some old school recipes that people, I think, forgot about and forgot about how delicious they were.
He adds younger generations delivered digital age dishes.
They're influenced by social media, they're influenced by trends and stuff. So I was very surprised how they were able to sort of execute some of the things that they see and actually, you know, convert that into good flavor.
Let's eat. All show off their skills to win $250,000 and the title of America's Master Chef starting May 29th on Fox.
We're ready, let's go.
In Hollywood, Ashley Dvorkin, Fox News.
Well, the Mega Millions jackpot hits $489 million after no tickets matched the winning numbers in Friday night's drawing. Although no player won the estimated $453 million jackpot, one player in Texas matched all 5 white balls and the Mega Plier, winning $3 million. And a player in California matched all 5 white balls for a $1 million winning. I'd take that. The next drawing takes place tonight at 11, and if there is no winner then the jackpot will most likely surpass $536 million, making it one of the top 10 prizes in the history of the game. You can't win if you don't play. Go get your tickets. Travelers parking at the Portland Jetport could soon pay a bit more. The Jetport sent a proposal to the city to raise the parking rate from $14 a day to $15 a day for long-term lots. The airport's director says with inflation, the price hike is under market rate, but the Jetport doesn't want to price gouge travelers.
We recognize Maine is a great big rural state and want to make sure that we're accommodating all the passengers that we can. And certainly as we go through the next 12 to 18 months and bring online more parking spots, that will also assist.
Well, if approved, the new rates would go into effect on June 15th. Well, the Brewer Riverwalk Festival is returning for its 4th year this weekend. Renee Doble, the city's Deputy Economic Development Director, says more than 2,000 people attended last year, even though the weather was cold and rainy. She says this year they are adding more music, a cornhole tournament, and a magician.
The brewer businesses help organize this because they know how successful it is and how useful it is to get people introduced to the area. Some people are coming that have never seen our downtown area.
Food trucks, theater performances, a craft fair, the Touch a Truck, and nonprofit tables will all return this year. Activities start at 9 a.m. on Saturday and end with the fireworks at 9 p.m. All right, so hopefully a good time to be had there. Well, that is going to do it for us, folks. From everyone here at Fox 22 News, take care and have a great rest of your night. We'll see you right back here tomorrow night at 6:30 and 10. Good night, everybody.
For more local news coverage, switch over to our sister station ABC7 right now for ABC7 News at 11.
Channel's got Luke Bryan, comedian Mike Birbiglia, and music from Incubus.
This is ABC 7 News at 11.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you for